My name's Mrs. H. Welcome to Online Storytime today. Today I'm going to share with you one of my favourite stories. It is called The Snail and the Whale by Julia Donaldson. And I don't know if you've read it before, you might have done. If you have, I'm sure you'll enjoy it a second time, and if not, it's a great story for a first read. I hope you enjoy the pictures too, because they're particularly good. So, hope you're all sitting comfortably. Here we go. This is a tale of a tiny snail and a great big grey-blue humpback whale. This is a rock as black as soot, and this is a snail with an itchy foot. The sea snail slithered all over the rock and gazed at the sea and the ships in the dock. And as she gazed, she sniffed and sighed. The sea is deep and the world is wide. How I long to sail, said the tiny snail. These are the other snails in the flock, who all stuck tight to the smooth black rock, and said to the snail with the itchy foot, "Be quiet, don't wriggle, sit still, stay put." But the tiny sea snail sighed and sniffed, then cried, "I've got it, I'll hitch a lift." This is the trail of the tiny snail, a silvery trail that looped and curled, and said, "Lift wanted around the world." This is the whale who came one night, when the tide was high and the stars were bright. A humpback whale, immensely long, who sang to the snail a wonderful song of shimmering ice and coral caves and shooting stars and enormous waves. And this is the tale of the humpback whale. He held it out of the starlit sea and said to the snail, "Come sail with me." There he is with his tail coming out of the water, and just down here you can see the snail climbing on. This is the sea, so wild and free, that carried the whale and the snail on his tail to towering icebergs and far-off lands. There's little penguins down here that they can see, with fiery mountains and golden sands. These are the waves that arched and crashed, that foamed and frolicked and sprayed and splashed the tiny snail on the tail of the whale. These are the caves beneath the waves, where stripy fish with feathery fins and sharks with hideous toothy grins swam round the whale and the snail on his tail. He was a very brave snail. This is the sky, so vast and high, sometimes sunny and blue and warm, sometimes filled with a thunderstorm, with zigzag lightning flashing and frightening the tiny snail on the tail of the whale. Doesn't look like a very nice day in that picture. And she gazed at the sky, the sea, the land, the waves and the caves and the golden sand. She gazed and gazed, amazed by it all, and she said to the whale, "I feel so small." But then came the day the whale lost his way. These are the speedboats running a race, zigging and zooming all over the place, upsetting the whale with their ear-splitting roar, making him swim too close to the shore. This is the tide slipping away. And look, the whale's here and there's not enough water for him to swim back out into the sea again. There's the whale, he's stuck on the beach. And this is the whale lying beached in a bay. "Quick, off the sand, back to sea," cried the snail. "I can't move on land, I'm too big," moaned the whale. The snail felt helpless and terribly small. Then, "I've got it," she cried, and started to crawl. "I must not fail," said the tiny snail. She didn't want to give up. This is the bell on the school in the bay, ringing the children in from their play. This is the teacher holding her chalk, telling the class, sit straight, don't talk. This is the board as black as soot. Here's the board just here. And this is the teacher. And this is the snail with the itchy foot. A snail! A snail! The teacher turns pale. Look, say the children, it's leaving a trail. This is the trail of the tiny snail, a silvery trail saying, save the whale. These are the children running from school, fetching the fireman, digging a pool, squirting and spraying to keep the whale cool. So, in the picture, we've got the whale and all the people trying to help the whale, and they're spraying water on it so it doesn't get too hot, and they're trying to dig the sand around the whale so that he can make his way back into the sea again when the tide comes back in. At the moment he's stuck on the sand, he can't get off. This is the tide coming into the bay, and these are the villagers shouting, hooray! As the whale and the snail travel safely away. There we go, everyone's cheering. And here's the whale, and the snail's on his tail here. And then all the people are saying hooray because the whale's made it back out into the sea again. Back to the dock and the flock on the rock, who said, how time's flown, and haven't you grown? And the whale and the snail told their wonderful tale of shimmering ice and coral caves, and shooting stars and enormous waves, and of how the snail, so small and frail, with her looping, curling, silvery trail, saved the life of the humpback whale. Then the humpback whale held out his tail, and on crawled snail after snail after snail. So there he is, there's the one snail, and here all the other snails are crawling onto him. And they sang to the sea as they all set sail on the tail of the great blue humpback whale. And it looks like the whale is going to take all those snails on his next adventure. And that's the end of our lovely story for today. I hope you enjoyed it. There's lots and lots of other stories that Julia Donaldson has written that are just as good. And if you're looking for one, there's one called Tiddler, which is also one of my favourites. So see if you can find that one, and that would be a nice read while you're all at home. All right, thanks for listening. Hope you all have a lovely day. Enjoy the sunshine. Bye.